You know, it's funny how quickly things can change around this division. One minute everyone is talking about one team, and the next, all the headlines seem to be pointing somewhere else. Lately, there's been a lot of hype building up, and it's got plenty of fans wondering if it's finally time to take those concerns seriously, or if it's just another off-season storyline that's getting blown out of proportion. The more you look into what's being said, the more interesting this conversation becomes, because there are some strong arguments on both sides that every fan should hear before jumping to conclusions. Before we get into it, make sure you hit that like button if you love Seahawks football and drop "Go Hawks" in the comments, so I know who's riding with the team all season long. One of the biggest conversations surrounding the Seahawks right now is not actually about something Seattle did. It is about what people around the NFL are saying about the Los Angeles Rams and whether those opinions should genuinely change how Seahawks fans look at the division. ESPN has been releasing position rankings across the league, and one detail immediately stands out. The Rams continue to place prominent names on those lists, creating the impression that they have assembled one of the strongest collections of talent in the NFL. That naturally raises one important question. Is it finally time for Seattle to be seriously worried about Los Angeles? The discussion begins with the fact that multiple Rams players are receiving recognition at premium positions. According to the rankings being discussed, the Rams have representation among running backs, cornerbacks, and edge rushers. That alone is enough to attract attention because very few teams can claim elite-level recognition across several position groups at the same time. On paper, it creates the image of a roster capable of challenging anyone. But as impressive as those rankings may appear, there is another side to the story that deserves just as much attention. The first player drawing major praise is Kyren Williams. His production has made him one of the biggest talking points in the rankings, and he is even described as one of the biggest omissions from the official top 10. That says plenty about the respect he is receiving around the league. His consistency over multiple seasons, including several consecutive 1,000-yard campaigns, has built a strong reputation. Even when some statistical averages have declined, the argument presented is that his overall responsibility within the offense has increased, making his workload more demanding rather than suggesting any decline in his performance. For Seahawks fans, however, the most important part of this conversation is not simply what Williams has accomplished overall. It is what has happened whenever Seattle has had to deal with him directly. There is no denying that he created problems early in those matchups. One particular game featured a dominant opening quarter in which he piled up most of his production before Seattle could fully adjust. At that stage, it looked like the Rams had discovered something the Seahawks could not answer. But that storyline changed as those meetings continued. Rather than allowing Williams to repeat that early success every time the teams faced each other, Seattle gradually adapted. The adjustments made throughout the later meetings dramatically reduced his effectiveness. By the postseason meeting referenced in the discussion, Williams was held below 50 rushing yards and was prevented from reaching the end zone. That progression becomes one of the biggest arguments in Seattle's favor. Instead of allowing one difficult performance to define the matchup, the coaching staff appeared to solve the problem over time. That leads directly into another major point. While national rankings focus heavily on talent, games are often decided by adjustments. According to the discussion, Mike Macdonald deserves significant credit for finding answers after initially being challenged. Instead of watching the same issues repeat themselves every week, Seattle responded with changes that made each successive matchup more favorable. That ability to learn, react, and improve becomes just as important as raw player rankings. The next major topic centers on Trent McDuffie. His arrival immediately strengthens the Rams' secondary, and there is little debate about why Los Angeles wanted to add him. His reputation has been built through strong performances, and league evaluators place him comfortably among the better cornerbacks in football. At the same time, the discussion also highlights an important comparison involving Seattle's own defensive talent. Devin Witherspoon is viewed even more favorably, with the opinion expressed that he belongs ahead of McDuffie in those rankings. What makes the comparison especially interesting is not simply who ranks higher, but the similarities in how both players are used. Each is capable of contributing beyond traditional coverage responsibilities. They can become factors in run support, blitz packages, and several different defensive assignments. That versatility separates them from many other players at the position and explains why both receive so much recognition. Still, the focus quickly shifts back toward Seattle's offense. The belief expressed is that one of the primary reasons for acquiring McDuffie is the challenge presented by Jaxon Smith-Njigba. The Rams clearly needed better answers in the secondary after struggling against Seattle's passing attack, and improving the defensive backfield became a priority. Yet despite McDuffie's impressive credentials, there is strong confidence that even he will not completely eliminate Smith-Njigba's impact. The reasoning behind that confidence is simple. Limiting production is not the same as shutting a player down. Throughout the previous season, opposing defenses gave Smith-Njigba increased attention as his role expanded. That naturally reduced some statistical averages because defenses devoted more resources to slowing him. Even so, the argument remains that defenders were only able to reduce certain numbers rather than remove him from games entirely. That distinction becomes extremely important when projecting future matchups. As a result, Seattle supporters are left with an interesting contrast. On one side, the Rams have unquestionably upgraded important positions and continue earning praise from analysts across the league. On the other side, Seattle believes it already possesses players capable of matching those additions, while also maintaining advantages that rankings cannot fully measure. Perhaps the biggest debate emerging from all of this revolves around whether off-season acquisitions automatically make one team better than another. It is easy to look at recognizable names and assume the balance of power has changed. National rankings often encourage exactly that reaction because they emphasize individual talent. But football has always demanded far more than simply collecting respected players. That is why this discussion becomes so fascinating. The Rams may have strengthened several areas of their roster, but Seattle's confidence appears rooted in something different. Instead of relying solely on outside recognition, the belief is that the Seahawks have continued developing internally while building a team capable of responding to adversity. The adjustments made throughout previous matchups, particularly against Kyren Williams, are presented as evidence that Seattle can solve difficult problems rather than simply hoping elite players carry the team. And that leaves Seahawks fans facing one of the most interesting questions of the offseason. ESPN's rankings suggest the Rams deserve tremendous respect, and their roster certainly contains players receiving significant recognition around the league. But does that recognition truly mean Los Angeles has done enough to move ahead of Seattle? Or do the Seahawks still have reasons to believe they remain in the stronger position despite all the national attention surrounding their division rival? What do you think about that debate? No matter where you stand in this debate, one thing is certain. The answers will come once these teams finally meet on the field. Until then, every ranking, every move, and every prediction will keep fueling the conversation. Now I want to hear from you. Do you believe the Rams have actually done enough to surpass the Seahawks? Or are you still confident Seattle remains the better team? Share your thoughts in the comments because I read every single one. And if you enjoyed this video, make sure to subscribe to the channel, leave a like, and turn on notifications so you never miss the latest Seahawks news. For more breaking updates and exclusive Seahawks coverage, click the video that's on your screen right now. That's where you'll find the newest information first. I'll see you in the next one.